is put to good use, is accounted for properly, and reaches the target groups so that we can see that Kenyans benefit from these resources. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, Honorable Senators, I'm only going to give you an opportunity if you want to comment on Senator Haniri's statement, because it is under 41.1. But the statements on 48.1 and the statement by Senator Wetangula and the statement by Senator Malala will not allow comments on that, but only on Senator Haniri's. So I'll only give you an opportunity if you want to comment on 47.1. Senator, first of all, what's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, I rise to seek your guidance. Senator Wetangula and myself raised pertinent issues to the chairperson on Committee on Education. I would wish that you give directions and timelines as to when we shall expect answers on the issues that we have raised before we start contributing on the next statement.
Definitely, we are going to commit those two to the committees, but you see, you raised on 48.1, and under 48.1, according to our standing orders, there should be no comments. We just commit to the respective committees. Timelines we are going to give. Let's just allow senators to comment on Senator Haniri's statement. Senator Ongeri.
Madam Speaker, I rise to comment on Senator Haniri's statement because my observation in the last few weeks, we have obviously seen the spiraling of this COVID-19 within the communities. And we've seen the behavior of people becoming more and more casual without any due regard to the intensity and the problem at hand. We have also seen that whereas before we were dealing with the external source of COVID-19, it's now gone to community spread. Not only has it gone to community spread, but it has also gone to some social gatherings where either in funerals or in other form of gatherings that are really creating a great danger to the society within the country. I've also noticed that county governments are not becoming very proactive in anticipating the rise in some of these COVID-19 cases. I may venture to say that unless we take a very proactive action and be able to put in place the protocols that have been clearly defined and pronounced by the Ministry of Health, that we are likely to run into a wild situation, into a dangerous situation where it may be very difficult to cope with those that may land up in our hospitals requiring intensive care unit and treatment. And therefore, Senator Haniri's statement has come at a time to remind ourselves on the gravity of this COVID-19 and not to take it as one of those other elements. Of course, it's my expectation that as it runs through, that whatever may be taken into account, that we should minimize the complications that arise out of this COVID-19. My anticipation is that eventually people will form the innate immunity, that these mild infections might be able to evoke what we call an immunological response that will be able to give enough titers of antibodies to protect the populations from any further attack from this COVID-19. The only other worry is that if the mutation of this COVID-19 goes to another level and therefore becomes wild, but I don't expect so, but if we can be able to conform to the protocol that has been set out for ourselves, i.e. social distancing, very critical, very important, a simple measure that will be able to help people to ward off this pandemic that is coming in a very rapid way. Hand wash, and as we know, the virus is normally denatured by use of soap. The soap is fairly, and this COVID-19 is acidic. Therefore, when you neutralize it with an alkaline solution, which is soap, it is likely to be neutralized without causing much harm and much difficulty to the people. And finally, because I've seen the yellow button, I would have liked to comment more that one of the things that is important is being able to keep yourselves protected, particularly the frontline workers. I'm one of the professionals, and the frontline workers now needs to be protected because we need them more than ever before. I thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute on this topic.
Honorable Senators, we are really running out of time. We still have a lot of statements. We have so many people to give comments on Senator Haniri's statement. I would like to kindly urge you to spend like 2 minutes so that we give as many people as possible opportunity, and at the same time, we race against the time. Senator Cheruiyot, 2 minutes, Senator.
Okay, I'm guided, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise to support this statement by our colleague, Senator Haniri. It raises very fundamental issues of the challenge that our country continues to face. And I'll quickly move on to further requests to the Committee on COVID that we formed in this House and urge them to look into all the emerging issues as we handle this pandemic as a country. Madam Speaker, of late we have been receiving updates of all the things that the Ministry of Health is doing. It will be of interest to this House, Madam Speaker, if the committee can also tell us what our scientists are doing with regards to trying to find vaccines that can help this pandemic. It's not proper for us to be reading about what people are doing in Oxford University, Johns Hopkins. I believe our scientists are none less scientists than those from other regions. And there have been breakthrough investigations in other diseases across the world that have been achieved by African countries. So it will be important if they can advise us on how far our research institutions, if there are challenges of funding and the rest, let them be brought to fore so that we can continue investing in research. Madam Speaker, since the opening of the country, after the much talked about lockdown, I would also wish to challenge that our county governments begin giving daily or at least even weekly updates on what they are doing at county level. It will be important for you to find out what Governor Professor Nyong'o is doing in terms of preparedness to face this pandemic in Kisumu County, how many isolation beds are ready, and all the things, the same figures that the minister continued to give. It will be important for them to, how many people have been found to have tested either positive and the test that they're carrying out, so that we understand what is the preparedness level of each and every of our country. Finally, Madam Speaker, I would also wish to urge, I've read that there will be a summit meeting on Friday where the President has invited governors, but these meetings continue to be just a PR exercise where governors go and give a report. It will be important if next time they invite senators from these respective countries, because we oversight counties and we know for sure what is the true state of preparedness in a particular county. Therefore, Madam Speaker, at the next meeting, at least if not individual senators, invite members of that, our COVID committee, who can give an actual and true reflection of what is the status of things in various counties. With those main remarks, Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, I would like to ask Senator Naomi Wako to approach the chambers as I allow Senator Gertrude Musorove. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the statement made by Senator Haniri. And I want to say that this statement has really come at the opportune time when COVID cases are escalating. And Honorable Speaker, when we just flash back, we see that time of the partial reopening, then the cases have really escalated. But since a lot of talk has been done concerning COVID, that it is here to stay, then we have to know as a country which direction we take in order to ensure that the curve. And a lot needs to be done, Honorable Speaker, as Senator Haniri has mentioned, especially especially in the counties. It is painful, Honorable Speaker, to realize that in the county, most of the people in Mashinani, you'll find that they're not wearing masks, they're not even keen about, closing their nose, their mouths and all that. They're taking it so normally. But I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that there are preparatory measures that need to be taken in order for this awareness to be effective. We have to ensure that we bring on board key decision makers, Honorable Speaker. Like teachers are very, very effective in disseminating information in Mashinani. And also we have chiefs, we also have religious leaders, Honorable Speaker. So they need to be brought on board so that this awareness can be effective. It is really painful that people are taking COVID, and yet it is a reality. Many people are losing their lives, even people who have really contributed, to economy, socially and politically, their lives are being taken away. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, just recently we had Papa Shirandula, who has also succumbed. It is painful, and I want to pass my condolences to, the fraternity of us in this country for losing such a person. I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that we must take this pandemic seriously. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that senators also need to be brought on board when it comes to raising awareness on issues of this pandemic, Honorable Speaker. Because even when we go to the counties, you find that you have no role to play. Most of the time,
Senator, time up. Senator Owako, please. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to come in and also add my voice to this very important statement. Madam Speaker, the situation in our country concerning COVID-19 is a serious one, and it's unfortunate that as a country, we are not paying a lot of attention and we keep on losing many people. I would want to comment on the lifestyle of our young people, whereby they keep on, interacting closely, and that will cost them their life. And I think some measures have to be put in place so that people will also take care of themselves in their homes or even at any place that they gather. Again, Madam Speaker, the churches or religious centers have been opened, but even as a result of this, we should expect worse situations maybe, and therefore, I believe our God is everywhere, and trust that, our religious leaders will be just careful so that, we don't get emotional and say that we need to be in church, and that may cost us our lives. Madam Speaker, the neighboring countries are not suffering as much as our country. I wonder what they are doing differently from our country, and so I would want to urge the Ministry of Health to borrow maybe or to do some research and see what is happening in Tanzania, Uganda, so that if there is anything they are doing and we are not doing, we can also apply. Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate that we keep on losing our people, very famous people, and even us as leaders and Senate should also be careful. Madam Speaker, because we interact a lot.
Senator, time up.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Pokisho, Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, let me use my 2 minutes to congratulate Senator Haniri in bringing this to our attention. Madam Speaker, we cannot say enough about how we need to handle the COVID situation in our country. The very fact, Madam Speaker, that we are leaders means we need to, first of all, understand and accept that COVID is real as leaders, so that as we go out there as politicians, Madam Speaker, we should not be caught in situations which compromise what we have preached. And for that matter, Madam Speaker, we should really not be the ones seen to be gathering people in rallies and in huge meetings. I suggest if there is a meeting like that, Madam Speaker, that leaders themselves should be supplying these masks, so that in the crowd, whatever, in the meetings, they might have, all the people may have the masks, because I think it's very important we protect them. But more importantly also, that we protect leaders. And because we need them here, and we need them in the country. So I also want to ask, Madam Speaker, that when we relate with the county governments, we need to take them to tasks as well, because some of them got the monies and some of them have just sat on the monies and they are not using the monies to do what was supposed to be done. While we congratulate the governors who have done something, there are some who should be on the list of shame, and those should be brought to our attention so that we know who is not using the money which has been given to all counties. Above all, Madam Speaker, it's all about understanding the disease and what you can do. And the simple instructions that are given, those are our duties should be to help our people understand and accept. I know in the rural areas, Madam Speaker, some people take it for granted that once we have no case, because we have not, which is still clear, no case, that doesn't mean the county should go to sleep. It means that they should be prepared in case. Now that the country has been opened, we should not, there are a lot of people traveling from Nairobi, from other areas, and very soon you'll start having those cases. So if you're not prepared, help. So I support and hope that the committee will take concern.
Senator Faki.
Asante Bispika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia taarifa iliyoletwa bungeni na Senator Khaniri, Senator wa Vihiga. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kweli kwamba maradhi katika nchi yetu na kwa sasa visa vingi vinaripotiwa kuhusiana na maradhi haya. Hivi asubuhi Mheshimiwa Spika, niliweza kuzuru hospitali ya Aga Khan na ripoti niliyopewa pale ni kwamba vyumba vyao vya ICU vilikuwa vimejaa wagonjwa. Na wale ambao hawakuweza kupata nafasi kule waliweka katika ile wanaita high dependence unit, ambao pia wanachukua wanahitajia vifaa vya kupumua na vingine.
Sorry, Senator Mwaura, kindly approach the chair.
Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba katika kaunti zetu nyingi hazijakuwa na uwezo wa kuwa na vitanda vya ICU. Labda zilizoweza kupata nafikiri sasa ni kama 8. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hatari iliyoko ni kwamba wengi wa wale wagonjwa itabidi waje Nairobi ili waweze kupata matibabu ya ICU kama hayo. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu Mheshimiwa Spika kwamba kaunti zetu zijitayarishe na vitanda kama hivyo, kwa sababu tunavyoona visa vikiongezeka na watu wengi wanaondoka katika mji wa Nairobi, mji wa Mombasa kwenda sehemu za mashambani, na maana kwamba baadhi yao wanachukua ugonjwa na kupeleka sehemu zile za mashambani. Kwa hivyo ni hatari ambayo itakumba nchi iwapo vitanda kama hivi havitakuwa katika sehemu nyingi za kaunti zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona pia vile vile kwamba watu sasa wameweza kupumua au wameweza kurelax, nikitumia lugha ya Kiingereza, katika kupambana na janga hili la corona. Utaona kwamba watu wengi hawaoshi mikono mara kwa mara, hawatumii sanitizer, na zote hizi ni vitu ambavyo vilikuwa vinahubiriwa kwa muda mrefu kabla ya kurelax hizi haya masharti. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, ipo haja ya watu kurejelea tena katika uhubiri wa haya masharti ili kila mtu aweze kujua kwamba ugonjwa bado uko. Ni labda nafasi tu imetolewa, lakini ugonjwa bado uko, na ugonjwa vile vile ni hatari na umekuwa hatari zaidi, kwa sababu kwa sasa wale ambao wameathirika na wakaondoka ulimwenguni hawakuchukua muda wa siku 3 ama siku 4. Kwa siku 2 au 3 wameweza kupoteza maisha. Asante
Senator time. Okay, that's fine. Finally, Senator Faria.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also wish to thank Senator Khaniri for bringing this matter to the House. Madam Speaker, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this country in terms of how we prepare, in terms of how we prevent, in terms of how people are informed, in terms of the way forward, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, right now we are being told, even our Director of Medical has just confirmed that there are interesting development in Oxford University in terms of the development of vaccine. Once that mass testing is done and this appears to be helping, then are we waiting until that time, or we start engaging now so that we collaborate in terms of that vaccine, or in terms of even having availability? Imagine a country like America with that big population. If their population is being affected that much, they'll be the first ones to order. What are we doing about it? Shouldn't we be proactive in terms of ensuring that we are next in the line once we are convinced that that vaccine works, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, let's be real, the COVID-19 is affecting livelihoods, Madam Speaker, of our people. Madam Speaker, it is killing people who are, are active in terms of labor to ensure that food production and security of our livelihood is now not being taken care of properly. Madam Speaker, in terms of the teachers, Madam Speaker, it was so heartbreaking to see a teacher who didn't pay his rent for 3 months, who has been locked by the landlord. Madam Speaker, all of us went through teachers, Madam Speaker. And I think it's high time that government takes at least the teachers who teach private school some money so that they can also
Senator,
be taken.
wind up, please.
So that they can be taken care of, so that we don't see. Madam Speaker, even there's other impacts, like there are some people who are even, they are allergic to sanitizers, for example, as well, and they're really suffering in terms of getting reactions and even looking for medication as a result of the reaction from the sanitizers, Madam Speaker. So our people need to take care.
Senator, time up. Time is up.
Okay, thank you. Just one final word, just to
Honorable Senators, for the sake of time, we still have so many statements and we have only 10 minutes to go. We have to abide by our own standing orders. Senators, we have committed the 3 statements to their respective committees, and giving a timeline of 2 weeks, not about, but of 2 weeks to report back on the statements. The next statement is by Senator Kwamboka, is not in the House. Senator Abshiro Halake.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have 2 statements on the order paper. I don't know if you'll allow me to just present all 2 of them, or...
Just go ahead and read the 2 of them,
okay.
And please try to summarize if possible.
I will. They're very short.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding the provision of training opportunities for persons in the public service who living with disabilities. In the statement, the committee should state whether persons in the public service living with disabilities are accorded equal opportunity to attend trainings or workshops, especially those that are held outside of their duty stations. State whether this is a policy, there's a policy in place which caters for the welfare of for them and provides them assistance or aids for the said persons when the trainings and workshops are held outside their duty stations, and provide a report of trainings and workshop opportunities, if any, that have been organized by the Public Service Commission and the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs, in which the said persons have benefited over the last 2 years. And I would also like to see what provisions have been put in place for them to actually be trained remotely or participate remotely in meetings and other opportunities to do so, Madam Speaker. I thank you. Madam Speaker, I have a second statement. This statement has been on the order paper for quite some time now, and it regards automation of land registries and general land records in the country. And this statement has actually been overtaken by events because I think there was a petition to that effect. But for purposes of emphasis on the need for this, I would just read through because it'll take me like 2 minutes. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources on the status of automation of land registries and general land records in the country. In the statement, the committee should provide a detailed report on the status of automation of all our land registries and general land records by the Ministry of Land and Physical Planning in all our counties, confirm the status of the new Digital Land Information Management System, LIMS, that was expected to be operational in all the 61 land registries countrywide by end of April 2020, bearing in mind that the registries were were put in place in February 2017, supplied with computers and connected to the internet to pave way for implementation of digital transactions for land, and state the availability of online services from the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning to Kenyans across all counties, particularly given the prevailing COVID-19 circumstances, especially knowing full well that land is an asset that is used by our communities for different things, including collateral, including certain issues to perhaps liquidate the land as an asset that they can liquidate to take care of different issues and different needs. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mwaruma, please make your statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the status of Voi Point Limited, formerly known as Voi Sisal Estates, which is on LR number Voi Town 28683 in Taita Taveta County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, clarify whether the land is agricultural or commercial and state how much has been charged on the title deed. 2, explain whether there has been a request for change of user by Voi Point Limited in accordance with the Physical Planning Act and the physical regulations, and if so, provide evidence of such request. 3, state whether approval was granted for the request by the county government of Taita Taveta and whether the county government involved the public in compliance with Article 118 of the Constitution before giving consent for change of user. Number 4, provide information on the amount of money paid by the Kenya Railways Corporation as compensation to either Voi Sisal Estate, Voi Plantation Limited, or Voi Point Limited, as the case may be, during the construction of Phase 1, that is Mombasa, Nairobi, of the standard gauge railway. 5, provide a detailed identity of the planners and the surveyors involved in the process of subdivision of the land on LR number 28683 and outline the purpose of the subdivision. 6, state who authorized the subdivision of the land, given that the parcel of land is charged to Diamond Trust Bank Limited. And 7, state whether the plight of the residents who live in the Sisal estate and those who were chased out by Voi Sisal Estate investors and whose houses were demolished and are currently advocating for their land rights and Mkamenyi Cooperative Society. Madam Speaker, let me just say one thing. We have gone with the Committee of Lands to this Voi Sisal Estate, currently known as Voi Point Limited. We promised the residents whose land was taken away by encroachment or through encroachment by Voi Sisal Estate that they'll get back their land. We have not given the feedback to those people, and we had given in 2019 a period of 1 year to respond to them. I think we need to expedite action because people were removed from their land. We even saw graves as evidence that people are living there and they were checked out. We need to really respond to these issues, which are very pertinent to these people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator for Mombasa, Senator Mwinyi Haji Faki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation concerning the ongoing reconstruction of the Makupa Causeway, Digo Road, that leads to Jomvu area. In the statement, Madam Speaker, the committee should, 1, state the scope of the works being undertaken on the said road, from Barclays Bank, Digo Road, Mombasa to Total Fuel Station in Jomvu area. Number 2, state whether the road works include demolition and reconstruction of the Makupa Causeway. And number 3, state the cost of the said works and indicate the estimated date of completion of the same. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mwaura.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, am I supposed to read my statement as well?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to seek a statement from the ad hoc committee on COVID-19 situation in Kenya regarding persons with disabilities who have benefited from COVID-19 response fund set up by the national government. The number, to seek about the number of. Then I also read the second one. I rise to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transport regarding the number of persons with disabilities who have benefited from the Kazi Mtaani program by the national government.
Thank you, Senator. I don't know if Senator Cheriot is in the Cherargei. Oh, Senator, you are not in your usual place, so my eyes may fail to see you. Go ahead and make your statement.
Thank you, Chair. I have two statements. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 48.1, I rise to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy on the issue of loss of 7 billion penalties paid to investors behind Lake Turkana wind power project. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain why the ministry has paid over 7 billion for penalties to contractors, yet the 4,430 kilometers highway voltage power project from Lake Turkana to Suswa in Narok, which is worth 28.9 billion, has not been completed. Second, state the cost of the project since from June 2018, the government was to pay 1 billion monthly for these delays in connecting the plant to the national grid and the suspect declaration of bankruptcy in the Spanish company, which could be been a well-drawn script to swindle the public funds in penalties for the delays. Third, explain the government has spent billions to pay for rainers as penalties since over 1,000 casual laborers were shipped from China to complete the project after the exit of Spanish company. Fourth, state why the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, Kentraco, acceded to punitive clauses in the contract that it would pay the penalties if they complete the project before the transmission line is completed. And finally, explain the government has paid the latest 1.6 billion despite the National Assembly recommendations that no payment should be done until special audit is done in all the payments done. Madam Speaker, in my second statement, on the request for statement on the issue of public notice issued by Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, that they will no longer be handling samples of and testing of COVID-19. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 48.1, I rise to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on the issue of public notice issued by Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, that they will no longer be handling samples and testing COVID-19. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain why Kenya Medical Research Institute has stopped collecting, handling, and testing of COVID-19 in their headquarters and all their branches in the country. Second, explain the roles of the institutions and the reason why any work-in by members of the public will not be tested of COVID-19 at any KEMRI laboratories in Kenya, thus exposing Kenyans to extortion from the private laboratories. And finally, Madam Speaker, state the actions, if any, that has been taken by the Ministry of Health to ensure accuracy and credibility of the samples being tested in both private and public laboratories to avoid wrong results being given to Kenyans as witnessed in the past few days. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senators. That brings us to the end of the statements. And under statements 48.1, we commit all the statements to respective committees and give a timeline of 2 weeks for them to bring the concerns or the replies to the statements and the concerns of members of the Senate. Honorable Senators, because of time and under normal circumstances and under our standing orders, it's not a must that we make comments on 48.1. So we go ahead to the next order. Order. The other statement.
This one was 51.1A. This is a report of a committee.
They are not on my.
Yeah, trust it.
Chairperson of Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Standing Order 51.1 of the Senate Standing Orders provides that a committee chairperson may make a statement relating to a matter for which the committee is responsible for. In fulfillment of this provision, I wish to make a statement regarding some of the statutory instruments referred to the Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation. On the 5th and 19th of May 2020, during sittings of the Senate Majority Leader tabled the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020 and the Traffic Driving Schools, Driving Instructors and Driving Licenses Rules 2020 respectively. Honorable Speaker, the Traffic Driving Schools and Driving Instructors and Driving Licenses Rules 2020 were published on 20th of March 2020. The rules seeks to streamline the operations of driving schools and driving instructors with the aim of ensuring competency of drivers on our roads. The regulations set out comprehensive curriculum to be used in the training, testing, and licensing of driving instructors, motorcycle riders, and drivers of different categories of vehicles. At its 18th sitting on 15th of June, the committee scrutinized the rules and resolved to approve the rules pursuant to Standing Order 221-4A. The clerk conveyed the resolution of the committee to the Minister of Interior and Coordination of National Government, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development and the Public Works, and the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA. Honorable Speaker, the committee also scrutinized the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020, published on 22nd of April 2020. The regulations have been long awaited and will replace the Public Procurement and Disposal Regulations 2006. The operationalization of these regulations will enhance procurement processes in the counties as well because the 2006 regulations did not envisage a devolution. The regulations will operationalize various provisions of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2015 and strengthen procurement procedures. Some of the provisions introduced by the regulations include: A, shorter timelines in the procurement procedures that will enhance service delivery to citizens. B, promotion of local industries by ensuring that tender documents targeting multinational agencies contain requirements for inclusion of at least 40% inputs sourced locally and reservation of employment opportunities for Kenyan citizens. C, requirement of payment within 60 days from the date of receipt of the invoices subject to availability of funds to ensure prompt payment of suppliers. D, responsibilities of county governments with respect to public procurement and asset disposal. E, management of procurement contracts. F, disposal of assets. And G, procedures to be followed while using the existing methods of procurement of goods, works, and services, and inclusion of community participation as a procurement method. The committee held a total of 17 sittings to consider the regulations, including meetings with stakeholders, Council of Governors, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Law Society of Kenya, the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, and on the 3rd and 4th of June 2020. The committee also met the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning on the 17th of June 2020. The committee expressed its reservation in a few of the provisions of the regulations which needed to be aligned to the Parent Act and the Statutory Instruments Act 2013. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning took note of the committee's concerns and gave an undertaking to remedy the offensive provisions and republish the same in the Kenya Gazette. At its 25th sitting held on 4th of July, the committee resolved to approve the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. Pursuant to Standing Order 2214A, the clerk has conveyed the resolution of the committee to the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Planning. Honorable Speaker, this is therefore to bring to the attention of the Senate the approval of the Public Procurement Regulations 2020 and the Traffic Driving Schools, Driving Instructors, and Driving Licenses Rules 2020. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the various ministries, departments, and institutions that have continued to support the committee while discharging its mandate. We shall continue to give our regular updates to the Senate on the status of the various instruments that are pending before the committee. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kilonzo Jr.
Just on a point of order, the statement read by my good friend Senator Faki is actually a very important statement, but based on regulations that are also very critical. What I was wondering, maybe I missed one session, and maybe the chair can clarify. Wouldn't it have been better, Madam Speaker, to actually get a committee report on those regulations? We in this House actually made a lot of effort in doing amendments on the Public Audit and Disposal Act. The statement is good, Madam Speaker, but we are then left short-handed in terms of information. Can the committee chair clarify whether there's a report available which can be circulated in the normal manner to senators on these regulations? Because I participated in some of the things about blacklisting contractors, and I would greatly benefit from seeing how the committee has handled the regulations with respect of blacklisting people, cowboy contractors who continue violating the law on public procurement. Thank you.
Senator Faki, can you react to the concerns of Senator Mutula Jr.?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Under the Statutory Instruments Act, where the committee resolves to approve the regulations, we don't need to make a statement to the Senate. It is only where we are rejecting that we make a statement to the Senate, and that particular statement will be voted for by the Senate in order to be approved or to be rejected. So under the Statutory Instruments Act, we are not obliged to make a statement unless they require us to make a statement. The Senate obliges us to make a statement.
Senator Mutula, are you satisfied with that response?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The committee, and Senator Faki and I sat in the Committee of Legal Affairs when we were discussing the COVID rules. We were actually supposed to come up with a report under the same statutory instruments. Although even in whether you reject or not, I was just asking whether would it be plausible for the committee to consider, irrespective of what the statutory instruments says, this is a matter so important to all of us as senators on public audit that the committee tables a report of some sort, that they agreed with the regulations in some form, because the report of the committee would not only tackle regulation by regulation, it would help us in terms of information on how they have made sure that the Public Audit and Disposal Act is now being implemented through those regulations. I appreciate the portion where the law does not require a report. What I am asking for is whether the Speaker can find it necessary to direct the committee to prepare a report, whether it's a report on the regulations themselves, because we have not had sight of them, because it's a very important statement, but it will just slide away without any input from us or any reading. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the request by the Senator Mutula is very fair. We are in this house to educate ourselves and to get as much information as possible, and it is in the interest of all of us and the people that we represent. Information is very critical. So, Mr. Speaker, the chair of the Delegated Committee, is it possible that you provide such information, because it is in the interest of all of us that we got more information?
Madam Speaker, if you look at Standing Order number 2214, if the committee accedes to the statutory instrument, the clerk shall convey the message to the relevant authority. If the committee does not accede, the committee may recommend annulment of the instrument to the Senate. If the committee fails to agree, the instrument shall stand approved. Madam Speaker, I'm entirely in the hands of the Senate, the House, that if you guide us to make a statement, we shall make a formal report to the Senate in regard to these particular regulations. But our own standing orders say that if we annul, it's only when we annul that we are supposed to make a statement to the House. If we accede to the regulations, we just make the clerk conveys the information to the relevant ministry, and that will be the end of the matter. Thank you.
Senator, I think we can refer ourselves to Standing Order number 51, 1B, where it at least once in every 3 months, it is required that you give, the committee is required to give a report, and maybe you make it more detailed so that it satisfies the needs of other members of the House. Next order. Okay, thank you, Senator. Where is the leader of majority? We don't have anybody who can be delegated that responsibility, so we move on to the next order. For the next week. Do you have the information? But you're not a member of the SBC? So you can't, you don't qualify, Senator, to... Yes, Minority Leader. Minority Whip.
Under the standing orders, in the absence of the majority leader and any member designated in the majority side, the minority and a member of SBC, if I read the standing orders correctly, can make that statement, so that we don't have to wait. And particularly because... Madam
Senator, you can go ahead and make it. I hope you have the information with...
No, I don't. Oh, the majority leader is here, after all. Just on time. He was just waiting. Thank you.
Majority Leader, you are just on time. You are almost passing...
and I was holding your brief.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm sorry. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 52.1, I hereby present to the Senate the business of the House for Tuesday, 28th July 2020. On Tuesday, 28th July 2020, the Senate Business Committee will meet to schedule the business of the Senate. On that day, 28th July 2020, The Senate will consider bills scheduled for second reading, and those at the committee stage of the whole, at the committee of the whole stages. The Senate will also continue with the consideration of business that will not be included in today's order paper, in addition to motions, petitions, and statements. Madam Speaker, I had mentioned in my statement last week, bills that are due for second reading are 19, while another 20 bills are at the committee of the whole stage, including those in the order paper for today. The Senate Business Committee will prioritize these bills accordingly. In respect, I continue to urge the relevant standing committees to use the available opportunities on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and even Fridays, and various electronic virtual means of holding committee meetings to expeditiously conclude consideration of these bills and table reports pursuant to the standing orders. Individual senators who may have amendments to bills are encouraged to file the same in good time to allow the Senate Business Committee to schedule the bills. Madam Speaker, before I conclude, I also wish to draw the attention of the House to 57 petitions pending before respective standing committees. I urge the standing committees to expeditiously conclude with the petitions and to table reports pursuant to Standing Orders 2232-2. Madam Speaker, I thank you, and I here lay the statement on the table of the House. Thank you.
Senator Wetangula.
I'm happy that the Majority Leader has mentioned the issue of pending petitions. Madam Speaker, Kenyans have a lot of faith in this House. That's why every single sitting day we have 3-4 petitions. But every time petitions come here, Madam Speaker, the chair commits them to committees, and that's virtually the end of the matter. I want to urge the Majority Leader and the leadership of the House, particularly the Procedure and Rules Committee, to amend our standing orders, Madam Speaker, so that one, we bring back the implementation committee that can deal with the resolutions of the House and committees. We had that committee, it was mysteriously scrapped, and this House has no implementation mechanism of following up our resolutions and committee resolutions. Number two, Madam Speaker, every time the petitions are committed to committees, and our standing order is to bring back the outcome within 60 days. No committee ever meets that. We have petitions that have been pending before committees for up to a year. And this is going to demoralize wananchi and people who have faith in this House. Comparatively, Madam Speaker, when you look at the number of petitions that go to our counterpart House, there are a lot fewer than petitions that come here. So I want to urge the chair and the leadership, one, to find a better mechanism within our standing orders on how to process petitions and bring back results, and two, an implementation mechanism not only on petitions, but all other resolutions of this House.
Senator Kilonzo Jr., you have a...
I want to agree with those sentiments. I'm also a member of SBC, and I'm similarly warning myself. But, Madam Speaker, I just want to propose to the Majority Leader, because I'm aware, like in the Legal Affairs Committee, we have completed all our petitions. Perhaps it's the Majority Leader should find space somewhere in the order paper where these responses to these petitions are listed until they are completed. So that if you have the petition, for example, on the person who said we should remove the cockerel from the emblem, it's listed, and therefore the chair is obligated to stay here until that report is tabled. Because there's a reason why we have so many petitions, including a very urgent petition filed by the Deputy Speaker about a sale of a building in Eldoret. When that petition takes a year, then the purpose of that petition and what the county government of Uasin Gishu was doing, buying an old ramshackle house for an exorbitant price, is defeated because they will buy quietly and it will be water under the bridge. We cannot, in some form, and majority leader can do so, and maybe the chairs of chair and committees of liaison, it's actually more of liaison committee, even more than SBC. When they meet, they should agree on the format of how committees can sort of finish these matters quickly. And even when the petitions come here, Madam Speaker, they are only tabled. And then the petitioner is given a report. The chair is only required to say something if it is necessary. So there's no reason for those delays. Thank you, Speaker.
Senator Zani, do you have to make a statement on that?
Yes,
a
thank
comment
you.
on that?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you for this statement. And just very quickly on the petitions, I think Senator Kilonzo Jr. has already mentioned that they're time-bound. Techniques that some committees use is just having subcommittees, because if you have a committee of about 9 people and you have subcommittees of about 3 people each, you're actually able to fast-track the petition. So maybe we can encourage some of our committees to do that. And then looking at the order paper, we had a motion on 9, which is to help us to use virtual methods. I think that is going to be very critical for us. Why I raise this, Chair, is because of the issues of the bills. If you look at the bills 13 up to 21, we've had these on the order paper for the last subsequent meetings, and maybe we need to find a way to balance. Yes, I know statements also come, and they also have their own priority, but some of these bills also have to do with the current issues that we lose the momentum of if they don't come at a specific time. I know the COVID management bill has already gone through. This is one only example of a bill that is timed to what is happening within the country. So I just urge that we find very ingenious ways of being able to push the agenda. And I think what has been proposed at motion 9 would be something we'd support and find mechanisms for do this. I appreciate that we have a lot of orders on our order paper, a lot of business on the order paper, and I think we're up to the task, and I think we will have it all done very well. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Finally, Senator Mwinyi Haji Faki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wish to echo what Senator Wetangula and Senator Junior have said on the issue of the petitions. And even on statements, Madam Speaker, I made a statement here in the month of May in regard to the shooting of a Kenyan aircraft in Somalia. Up to now, nothing has been done about that statement, Madam Speaker. And according to the IATA regulations, there's supposed to be an interim report within 30 days of the happening of the incident. That report has not been issued, and I understand although it has been signed by the Kenyan government and the investigator, the Somali government has refused to sign that statement up to now, and there's nothing that is going on. Madam Speaker, the danger here is that we are going to lose confidence. The members of the public are going to lose confidence in the Senate's ability to deal with these issues. At the moment, Madam Speaker, the family is in agony. About 5 Kenyans died. None of them has been compensated. The insurance company cannot process the payments because at the moment there is no report of the accident that has been issued. So, Madam Speaker, there is an urgency in terms of the disposal of the business, in terms of the statements and the petitions, so that members of the public continue to have confidence in the Senate as a house that considers their issues promptly and in a manner that satisfies their rights and obligations. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And finally, Senator Faria.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think this is almost the 4th week I'm sitting here with a bill that is almost on the top of